the first chart. Now the first chart, I think everybody's familiar with it, is the pi cycle on Bitcoin. As you can see within this layout, let me just switch towards an arrow here. As you can see, previously it has been pretty spot on, right? Top, bottom, top, bottom. Now, of course, the sample rate is extremely low, but I think this is a good indication to see that, you know, the trigger for this signal is that when the 111-day moving average crosses above its multiplied 350-day counterpart, it triggers the pi cycle top signal. If we're taking a look at this chart, you can see it right here, right? This is where we start crossing it right there. Same story here with this cycle high, and then with this cycle low, we cross it towards the downside. So these are the triggers. Now, if we're taking a look at where we currently are, I think we are nowhere near a high based on the pi cycle that has been pretty spot on previously. So based on this chart, I'd say dips are for buying as long as we do not cross this average above the rolling one, right? So definitely looking really good. And then if we're taking a look at this chart, it's basically a simplified. If we're taking a look at the indicators, EMA, the first one is 100. Then we've got the 50, 100, and the 200 EMA plotted on this chart. At the bottom half of this chart, we got the RSI, and you know, I'm not executing purely based on this chart, but I think it's a good reference point on when you want to be looking for dips. And you know, if we're taking a look at let me pull something up here. So if we're taking a look at this, right, we've got the 50 line of the RSI here. If we take a look at the previous times that we were trading here, you know, every time that we're above the 50 point of the RSI, and then, you know, we can see that it's maintaining support, it is another leg higher, even if we're getting a large puke lower. Now keep in mind that yes, we're trading higher, but there's definitely going to be days where things aren't as good, right, as it is right now, right? Because everybody on Twitter is basically, are we making money? Everybody is making money right now, but there are going to be weeks where we get a huge brutal correction, right? And at that point you want to see the 50% threshold of RSI holding a support. So all in all, I think this chart as well, as long as we're not trading near the 80 point of the RSI, I think we have plenty of upside here, right? Previously, when we were trading above the 80 point, it marked a high right here, short-term high, and then right here, obviously, we had this all-time high right there. So again, on this chart as well, we've got plenty of upside. Moving towards this chart, it is the 22-day on Bitcoin on RSI as well, and we can see that it is being trading within the channel. Every time that we're reaching the upper part of the channel on the RSI, it has marked the all-time high. Every time that we broke the trend line, really simplified chart, right? But it works, and you know, majority of the people are watching the RSI, majority of people are watching these higher time frame charts right now. So again, if we're taking a look on this chart alone, I'd say Bitcoin's looking pretty awesome, right? We're starting to reclaim the midpoint of this band, and we're starting to trade towards the highs. Now, as long as we don't trade near the 91-90 region, we're good to go, right? So in terms of upside, I think there's plenty on Bitcoin. Now, does that mean that I will not look for shorts? I mean, I'm a trader, right? I will always look for a two-way trade. I will look to fade absorption at the highs for a potential move lower. However, I think if there's going to be a dip on Bitcoin, especially heading into next week, it is going to be one that you want to be buying with strength. Yeah, so all in all, right, every chart right here, we've got pi signal, definitely not near its high. We've got, you know, the RSI above the 50 threshold. We're trading above all EMAs, looking good. Right here, this chart is just looking amazing to me, in my opinion, where we've got so much upside to have on Bitcoin. So that brings me to the fact, well, how high can we actually go on Bitcoin? So for that, I want to show you a fractal on gold. So if we're taking a look at gold here, and we're moving towards a weekly time frame, and right here, let me just draw this out for you guys again. So gold was in a consolidation near the previous all-time high. Previous all-time high was here, right here at that all-time high, right? It was in a consolidation here, so let's mark that out. We had the high towards the low right there, right? Bracketing until proven otherwise. We then finally broke towards the upside. So what's a good reference point whenever we are trading in uncharted territory? what I like to do is I like to draw a fib from this swing point towards the swing low right here. And let's extend it like that, right? And then we can see that the first trouble area, purely based on the extension from this high towards that low, was the fib 1.618 on gold. I think the second destination is probably going to be the 2618 as well. So if we take this fractal and we're taking a look at how Bitcoin currently looks, so let's take a look at this chart, for example. All-time high here, same story, right? Bracketing around it, high towards the low. This was the range. So if we're going to be determining what a likely destination of Bitcoin is going to be, you know, without really taking into account that, for example, I think 8888 is going to be a really big number, right? 8888, 88k 88, because it's just, you know, in the Chinese community, it's a lucky number. I think overall this is probably going to be a sticky point going forward, but plotting the fib from the high towards the low right here, right? First trouble area is going to be around 88k. Now that lines up with this number as well. So I think if there's going to be a cap on upside, it's going to be around this level. Now there's probably going to be a whole lot of front running, because everybody that, or at least that I talk to, or, you know, friends that are in crypto, they are almost everybody is saying, once we reach 100k, I'm selling all that shit. And people that know that are probably going to start front running that 100k. So what I think is going to happen on Bitcoin is we're likely going to see some sell pressure from this point on, front running 100k, and then we're getting a retracement. Now it's probably going to be a brutal one. Let's say that we do, I don't know, maybe a retracement all the way back towards the highs. Not saying that we were going to do it, but let's say that we do. I think this is the likely path of, you know, what we're going to be doing. Retracement, and then I think we're going to be blasting through this level potentially towards 100k and upwards, right? Because that's going to be, you know, this is going to be the tricky part. From this point, 88k towards 100k, this is where a majority of the people will sell. Above 100k, everybody will start to FOMO back in. And at that point, it's going to be, you know, a swift ride higher, in my opinion. But until then, right, I think this is going to be the sticky point. 1.618 fib, around 88k. So what does that mean in terms of trades? Well, if we're taking a look at Vwap real quick, it's funny to me that, you know, for everybody that is with the stream knows that I really like the yearly Vwap. We can see the yearly developing value area high there. We can see the yearly developing value area low there. We were range bound throughout the majority of, you know, Q2 and so on, and Q3. And then this was the moment we were all being waiting for, right? This is where we had that genuine shift in condition above yearly developing value area high. I even tweeted about it, like, you know, this is going to be it. We have daily support here. Whoops, we had a day one bullish order block, right? This daily bearish down close candle before that shift in structure. And then we kept me back to the security of the range. I mean, I know, right? There are no levels. I need a range to work with, but, you know, let's go with it. So I think this was that generational entry, and then we're getting the expansion higher. No surprise, because on a yearly time frame, we're breaking above that developing value area high. On the quarterly, I mean, the best case here, like, and I'm not sure if we're getting it because of how things are structured right now with America, right? We've got like the most proactive Congress for crypto right now. Trump is in talks about adding it to whatever he wants to add it to. So I think if there's going to be a dip, it's not going to be a similar playbook where it's always going to be a 30% retracement like we had in the previous bull market, right? Because people are going to be bidding it. Like hedge funds are going to be systematically bid it as soon as it reaches their price point where they want to get involved. So I think the bids that we're getting are going to be more shallow than we're used to. Does that mean that I don't think that we're getting one? Well, I think we're getting one. But what I would like to see is, let's say that we start forming a range, and, you know, at this point, I'm not sure if we're getting one. But if we do, like the first area that we can probably look for to get longer term long exposure, I'll go for the weekly Vwap in a bit. But for now, I think we have quarterly developing value area high creeping upwards. So the more time we spend up here, the faster it will creep upwards, right? And then if we get a deleveraging event where people puke and, you know, we get a lot of long liquidations, at that point, this is where I want to get involved, right? Around the 74K mark. I think if we get that, maybe even take out that low, I don't know. But if, and that's a big if we're getting it, this is where you go like really hard on the longs, where, you know, this just needs to hold for that bigger move upwards. You know, and besides that, right, we're back to the roots. Like Vwap is good and all, but right now it's back to the roots. It's back to ICT, order blocks, fair value gaps, and so on. So the only thing that I would like to address here before going to the order blocks is that if we're taking a look at the top left, not top left, bottom left corner right here, this is the weekly Vwap. And this is the nearest buy level that we're going to get, right? The weekly developing value high, just as a reference point, like you could tell me like, yeah, well, it's the weekly, sure. But look, I mean, the weekly developing value high is the point that a lot of Vwap users are eyeballing because it's the only level that we can work with. And that's exactly why you can see the interactions are so super clean, right? And, you know, yeah, exactly. We've got, it's confluent with the CME gap. So in my opinion, and that brings me towards the trades of next week. If we keep all of this in mind, right? If we keep, you know, based on the higher time frame charts, Bitcoin is bullish. I think there's no denying that. We're going to go much higher. I don't think we've just spent an entire quarter here ranging, resetting every momentum indicator, finally breaking out. I don't think that this is the high. If it is, then, you know, shame is on us, right? Because we need to be walking in like a gangster on Christmas, like, you know I told you not to buy last year and I don't give a fuck, right? That's the mindset that I have at this point right now. So moving towards this chart, let me just move towards this chart right here. So the things that we can work with here are a couple of things. The first one is, you know, during this upward move, I was hoping to get a deeper retracement back into this H4 bullish order block, right? We had a nice BV red candle here before we shifted structure. We didn't really tag it, right? And we had a bunch of lows here. So I thought if we're getting this, you know, and that was just me wishful thinking, sweep it, then this is where you go long. And then you target that continuation higher. But, you know, everybody was bidding weekly developing value high. And then we got that expansion during the weekend, leaving a lot of inefficiency. So one thing that I do want to point out here is that if we're taking a look at the CME, the daily here, right, we do have a CME gap at 77.3K. Now, before everybody starts posting on Twitter about the CME gaps and so on, because I already see a lot of posts about them, yes, it's good to have as a reference point. For example, if we take a look at this chart right here, breakaway gap. Well, this was not a breakaway gap, but you know, it was a CME gap here. Rebalance the gap, then we saw continuation higher. But I do want to point out that we do not always have to fill in the gaps, because there's one at 53. I don't know, there is one nearby, and you know, it can also be a breakaway gap, so we don't really have to have it. Yeah, 53K, so we don't really have to fill in the gap, right? And this, you know, something that I think is really important to understand. Now, in terms of trades, right, we've defined that, you know, the quarterly developing value is creeping upwards. We've got weekly developing value is going really good. It is confluent with the CME gap, right? Weekly support, CME gap. We've got quarterly support here around 71K. If we're getting it, I don't think we will. If we're getting it, I'm betting the entire farm on it for, you know, more upside. But for now, it is basically a really simplistic game where you long a retest into a H4 bullish order block because the systematic flow is up, right? And that's mainly to do with, it's not like that this is magic. It's like people that are up, that are selling within this rotation lower, and now all of a sudden Bitcoin is trading higher, they will want to buy back. And that is the only reason why these down close candles work as support, right? It's the flow behind them. So down close candle, break above the high, retest it, continuation upwards, right? And now that we're getting one right here, a nice down close candle before we start trading higher, you know, are we getting that CME gap fill? I don't know. But I have set an alert here on the line, and I know that, you know, if we're getting let's say that we get something along these lines, right, where we this is the high. Let's say this is the high for now, right? We've done enough, right? 81K. I mean, come on, guys, 81K. Let's say that we start trading within a range here. Form a nice range. We form a low here. Then I am aware that we have a fair value gap here. We've got a nice beefy down close candle before breaking structure. I mean, why not, right? If we form a range here, then break back below the range into that H4 order block, reclaim that lower time frame range low, then this is the confirmation that you need. Just go with it. Don't be too scared, right? Define your risk. And when it's defined, like let's say that you give it one shot, you get long on the deviation. Your invalidation should be the H4 order block, in my opinion. Don't get too cute with your stops. Set it below proper invalidation. If we break below this, well, at that point, I think we're filling in this fair value gap into the CME gap, into weekly support. So, you know, for continuation higher, I think this is the cluster that you want to be looking for bids. Don't put your stop below this low, because who knows what happens, right? A lot of, you know, we've got a lot of the gins on the leverage right now. So just put your stop at a logical place. So that's one, right? Am I looking for shorts? I think looking for shorts is a bit risky. Especially considering that, you know, if we're taking a look at this example right here, where we had that typical 3 drive structure, right? 1, 2, and this was that 3rd drive upwards. We swept the high, nice puke lower, but when then something like this occurs, where you see that, you know, there's clearly someone absorbing sell pressure, like it is unable to break lower. We're compressing back into the highs again. At that point, if you're short, you need to close it. Don't be stubborn, right? So I think, yes, we can start looking, well, we cannot start looking for shorts, but if there's going to be a lower time frame range and we do ending up spiking the highs and we get a close back within the range, then yeah, why not take a short scalp towards some of these inefficiencies, right? But don't be stubborn. Don't go full size or whatever, right? Just play the rotations. So one of the things that I also want to outline here is that CME gap. I think that was it on Bitcoin. We've got a fair value gap here as well. So to me, if Bitcoin is going to be remaining extremely bullish heading into next week, let's say that we close up here and we have a, let's say that we do this, right? We go right there and then we've got the weekly close tonight, and then we can plot the new weekly open like that, weekly open. Even if you are not comfortable looking for longs around this H4 order block, let's say that we do this, right? This is the weekly open. And this is a really simple, everybody can do this, right? And this is usually what works within a trend when we're really aggressive, when momentum remains high. If we do this, we open up, the weekly candle starts heading lower, right? We form a wick into the order block, and now we're reclaiming the weekly open. This is the weekly open, right? Right there. If we're right and we're trading a power of 3, we have now formed the weekly wick right there. We're trading above the open. So if we are right, we should now go for the expansion higher. And that's one of the setups that I tend to look at, you know, when there's no relevant pivots based on Vwap. Just look for the deviation below the weekly open into a level of demand. In this case, it's an H4 order block, filling in an H4 fair value gap. If we close up here, reclaim weekly open, and then it's good to go. We're going higher. How high are we going to go? I'd say keep your eyes on the FIP extension, right? The 88K region. So once we start breaking below this, at that point, you might be looking for shorts on a retest at this bearish breaker or this bearish order block here for continuation lower. Maybe even take out the lows here, but who knows, right? I'll update it when that occurs. But for now, I think flow remains bullish as long as we hold above the H4 order block. If we don't, then a retest as the weekly support, weekly developing value high on Bitcoin is likely. Okay? Is that clear on Bitcoin? And let me know in the chat. If I said something and you're like, bro, you're talking Chinese to me, let me know as well, because I'll try to explain it. I mean, well, let's take a look at Ethereum. I'll take a look at Chia in a bit, bro. No worries, no worries. Why? You're short? Or you need to get in? All right, daily time frame. Again, Ethereum looks really good in my opinion. If we're taking a look on this chart from, let's see, a monthly perspective, we can see these two candles here respected to the tick. I think as long as you trade above them, it's going to be game time for Ethereum. Now, the level of interest that I have outlined are yearly support around 3K, right? As long as you trade above yearly support, we're probably heading towards yearly resistance around 34.85. This is going to be a bearish line in the sand. Now, I think if there's going to be upside and that's going to be capped, it's going to be within this bearish order block. Let's take a look on a 2-day chart, right? A 2-day up close candle before we broke structure. We can see the significance here, right? Retested it to the tick before we went all the way back, formed a fair value gap there. And that's a good part, right? We're forming a fair value gap here as well. Now, you might ask me, well, why are you plotting the 50% fair value gap of these rotations? Let me show you. When trading a bullish environment, the anomaly is left behind by a fair value gap, which is basically right here, right? From this candle high towards that candle low, the 50% threshold of the fair value gap should hold a support. You know, Bitcoin and Ethereum tends to leave a lot of inefficiencies, but I don't want to see them being filled in way lower, right? So if there's strong momentum, mark out that 50% threshold of the fair value gap, and that's where you want to start looking for your low time frame entries, because usually these provide a great area for potential mean reversion. Now, if we're taking that into consideration and we take a look at where we currently are trading, we've got a nice thick fair value gap here. 50% threshold is there. So let's see what develops on Ethereum. There's a, you know, a liquidity pool above this high into the bearish order block. Minus order block means bearish order block on my charts. So, you know, I don't see any nearby entry points for me to, you know, to get into longs. I would don't get me wrong. I mean, I would love to get long on a retest of that yearly support. So let's say that we get it and we start forming a range here. Maybe we do something along this. Who knows, right? Deviation into the 50% threshold of that fair value gap. Reclaim the range into yearly support. This is a no-brainer long right there. This right there. That's a no-brainer long. Until then, I'm going to be remaining patient and comfortable with my positions, especially in meme coins. I think I saw a lot of posts about funding, you know, not being that elevated as it usually is. I think it's a whole different ball game during this this run upwards, because majority of the people are trading meme coins. Like, they couldn't give two fucks about Bitcoin going higher on leverage, right? Sure, we've got loads of people trading leverage on Bitcoin, but I think there's a different dynamic here where more people are trading on chain and so on. I mean, yes, a possibility of a shakeout is definitely on the cards. That's why I said if we're getting one, I don't think that we're going back towards the range high. I think if we're getting one, yearly support on Ethereum is the one that you want to be looking for longs at. For Bitcoin, I think, you know, if we're going to be looking for longs, I mean, the CME gap seems like a good level to look for potential longs, right? And short term, what did we do? I think we might be forming. Let's see what we do. Looks a bit exhausted right here. One sec. Do we need to go all in short? No, not yet. All right. Probably should, but no, not yet. So aiming for the fair value gap is the best bet. Got left behind a look of an entry. I think for Bitcoin, for short-term continuation higher, I think this should definitely be capping the downside. This H4 order block. Now for that, I would just wait for a short-term range to form, because I think if we're forming this like this, right? A nice range, and the reason why I like this is because you have a clear invalidation. Deviate below range low into support, reclaim the range, stop below the low, and then we need to see continuation higher towards 88, 85k, right? That's it on Bitcoin. Now for Ethereum, aggressive entries can be taken around the fair value gap that we have here on the daily with the 50% threshold, which is around 30k. Even if we overshoot it, yearly support around 3k is a no-brainer long for me. So yeah. No, I don't think that this is a deviation of the range, bro. No, definitely not. I think we're going to go much higher. But I think if we're going to go towards yearly support, then yeah, definitely looking for longs. Let me catch up on the chat. By the way, is it clear on Ethereum? Ethereum looks good, right? So let's get some altcoins going. The first one is USDT perps. And let me just show you something. It doesn't have a perp? What's the ticker? USDT. Why is there no perp? Oh, it is. I was typing it wrong. All right. Let me create a section real quick. Get rid of this one. Like that. All right. Chia. What I also want to show you guys is we no longer need this chart. Let me just show you the index because there's a whole lot of altcoin requests, but I think you guys should be focusing on these. From the L1s, ADA. I mean, can somebody update me on the rumors with Trump and ADA? Like, is that guy from ADA? How the fuck do you pronounce that? Is he running with Trump or something for blockchain technology? That's why it's outperforming like it is. But screenshot this. From the L1s, you want to be looking at these. Anything else is not outperforming, right? On a monthly perspective. Weekly, this week, we've got L2s and DeFi. From the L2s, you want to be looking at these. These are outperforming. And then on the daily, we can see memes and GMs. So memes. Let's plot this. Which number are the memes? It's number 6. Number 6. All right. Let's load it up. Right? These are the ones that you want to be trading. Anything else is basically dog shit. Right? Yeah, it's custom made indicator, yeah. Right? So screen cap this. This is what you want to be trading in terms of altcoins. Anything else on the index is garbage because these are outperforming, all right? But let's do some TA on them. I mean, I can do some TA, no biggie. Let's go toward, where's my regular chart? Where is it? All right. So let's go back to the basics. Right? You guys ready? Reset. First things first. We've got a low here. Let's mark that out. Nice puke into the low. We've got a beefy down close candle right there. So this is weekly support. Right here. Let's break it down. Weekly support. Then we're going towards a daily time frame. Based on the daily, we have a range, and I'd say that this is the range right here. So if it, let me just put my magna mode on. If this is going to be accumulation, which it probably is, keep your eyes peeled on the reaction at this daily range high. Looking good so far. Let me see. What's the 2-day saying? The 2-day is saying we're trading into a bearish order block. So I'm going to be calling this 2-day. Whoops. And a minus is bearish in my opinion. 2-day minus order block. Resistance. Daily, we've got, you know, it's a shame because are you currently into a long from Chia or not? Whereas PP coin, bro, PP coin is straight up booming. PP coin, like, look at this, bro. Based AI, we've got Book of Ethereum. Like, these are, you know, oh, we've got Nero. Damn, son. I mean, the scam that Binance pulled, they listed it at fucking 10 million market cap. Oh my God, bro. Look at this shit. No, it's all regulations. Yeah, my ass. My ass. All right, back to this one. All right. Stay with me. Stay with me. Who wanted to see Chia? Are you in a long right now or not? Jesus wanted to know it. My guy. Oh, you long Chia. All right, good. So weekly, if this weekly closes above this weekly down close candle, then what is this? It's going to be a weekly bullish order block. Bullish. Daily chart. You know, I mean, I wouldn't really be looking for fresh longs up here because we're filling in this fair value gap. Why is my chart always getting ass? We're filling in this fair value gap this low towards that high. By the way, do we have a whole lot of price action traders with us right now or not? Fair value gap, right? Filling in the inefficiencies. We only have sell side being delivered within this rotation. That is why the market will often rebalance itself within this gap. It's a shame. I would have wanted to get long on a retest here. I mean, we have another inefficiency there. Daily bullish order block here. So this would have been a great area to get long. I got a late long 5.47. My guy is not scared. 5.47. All right. That's why you wanted to see it so badly, right? Anyways, you could argue that we have some sort of a mitigation here, right? And we can see the previous interaction. So looking pretty good. I definitely put an invalidation below this block here and then look for that expansion higher towards these marginally lower highs. But I think, you know, going forward, considering that we have an upcoming weekly order block, bullish order block, we do have a daily up close candle before we took out a low. Now, usually I'd say this would have been the better long entry, but this is the highest up close candle from that swing point before heading lower. Let's see if we have anything on the H12. This is just looking horrendous, bro. Like, look at this. I don't know. I think we're heading into resistance here. So, you know, if you're long, that's fine. Invalidation should be below this point. Any retest back into the weekly order block can be seen as a good buying opportunity. All right. What I think about Based AI, well, I'll be honest, man. You know, disclaimer that I am involved. Well, I'm not involved with Based AI, but I bought a fuck ton of Based AI. And I think it is super undervalued at this point. Like, what's the market cap at? Like 300 mil or something? And then you look at garbage like Teo or BitTensor. Like, this is going to fly, in my opinion. And then you've got PP Coin as well. So, I mean, it is just a base team. But, you know, I might be biased because I'm holding them as a position. So it's very based. Like, it's based as fuck, bro. Yeah, I mean, you already know why I have these here, right? This one as well. And I'm actually got it because I had some orders here. But they didn't go through. They did me dirty, man. Fucking Uniswap, if you're watching, fuck you. Because I had some orders here. I'm staking, yeah. But I'm staking from the beginning. Like, I'm fully staked. So I'm not really trading. Solana. All right. Let's take a look at USDT, perp. Let's get it back in. I mean, this is looking extremely good as well. Weekly. All right. So first thing that really catches my eye is this weekly block. This is usually a rejection block, but now that we're trading through it, it's going to be bullish. So I'm going to be calling this a bullish mitigation, right? Mitigation block. Then we're going to go towards the 3-day chart. Do we have anything on the 3-day chart? I mean, again, look at the flow. The flows are super clean. I've said it time and time again within my tweets. If Bitcoin is finding a low, Solana's going for new highs, and there you have it, right? 3-day down close candle, move upwards, retested as support, bullish, continuation higher, right, towards these highs here. Daily chart, do we have anything of interest right here? Look at the interaction here, pretty clean. H4. All right, let's go towards an H12. All right, so I'd say, and sometimes I see these things that people draw the wrong bullish order block. The best order blocks, in my opinion, are at key contextual levels. In this case, it's around a bullish mitigation block. I mean, a bullish order block that is the lowest down close candle. That's the one that you want to be choosing. Now, obviously, these, you know, this didn't tag, but these right here, I would have preferred to see a beefy down close candle like this right here. Like the bigger the body, the better the order block. But in this case, right, down close candle before we move higher. If Solana is going to be bullish and if there's going to be a dip right here, order block right here, I need to see buyers stepping in right here because it's a key contextual level. Let's take a peek at the ticker. What do we have here? It's a nice level of confluence because we have the monthly value high for my TPO traders. Coordinates, let's round it off, 199 text. And we're calling this monthly support. Let's keep it simple, right? Let's not be fancy, monthly support. By the way, there are 68 guys watching right now. If I can see this right, leave me a like right now, all of you, right? Let's not be cute. I need the likes. I need you to blow up my channel because I need to reach 10k subs. Ticker down here. So who asked about Solana? I think, if you want to be looking for longs, it should be within this region. Daily, weekly. What do we have here on the 3-day chart? All right, that's it, guys. Blow me up. Blow me up. There's a rejection block here. So I'd say 233 is definitely going to be a sticky point here. For continuation, you want to see the monthly support confluent with a bullish mitigation block holder support. So 200 is definitely going to be your area of interest. 12-hour, nice red down close candle before we shut upwards. Any retest should be held as support for continuation upwards. Because I asked you that, right? That's it, right? I mean, could you please leave me a like? Next time I'll do it in ASMR, right? ARB. Let's take a look at ARB. ARB, USDT, Perp, Binance. And let's see who chooses the shittiest altcoin. Oh my gosh. Like, look at this. Like, it is looking good right here, right? And then you zoom out. And you know that people are still bag holding this from the highs. Anyways, welcome in crypto. Moving towards a weekly chart. Again, weekly. And all of these are looking similar. Right here, we had a swing point. Deviation below. I think this is going to be a very important pivot. Yep, let's mark that out. Then we're moving towards the 2-day chart. Okay. Right. 2-day. This is the range. Currently trading above the range, which is good. This was a really clean long opportunity. Look at this. This is your typical bullish breaker. We are trading at key support right here, right? Then we form a low. We go upwards. We leave a bearish order block here. Then we start trading lower. What do? We take out a low here. And then if the market would have been bearish, this should have held as resistance. But we didn't. We break through it cleanly. That's why it's called a breaker, because we break through a bearish order block without any resistance, right? And that's usually going to be the continuation you want to see for upside. So picture perfect retest, more upside. So far, I think this is looking pretty good. Daily chart. I don't see any good entry point on the daily so far. I mean, if we're going to be seeing a retracement back into the middle, if we're going to be seeing a retracement back into the middle of the range, then I would say, yeah, sure, look for longs. But for now, it's just too far away at this point. And this is what I said on Bitcoin as well. Like, it's good to see that when the flow is actually bullish, you see that the H12 down close candles, you don't always necessarily have to wait until, we go all the way back and retest them, right? One of the things when we're auctioning within a certain direction, where there's a whole lot of one-time framing, like we can see right here, when it's up only, the moment we start to close above an H12 bearish order block, you can start, for example, right here, right? You can just set your limits and then it just tags it, right? And then immediate continuation higher. It doesn't matter that if you're getting long if you set your limits right here, as soon as this candle closes, because even if we do this, where let's say that we didn't have this and then we start trading here and then retest and then continue to go upwards, your invalidation still remains the same, which is below the low of the bullish order block before we broke structure, right? So really good entry point here. H4, do we have some lower time frames? I mean, not really. I'd say, and that's probably going to be my play for majority of the altcoins that I think are looking good based on this chart, right? For majority of the outperforming altcoins, whenever Bitcoin pukes, and trust me, it will eventually, whenever it pukes lower, then that's when you want to start bidding the outperforming altcoins, because we can do them individually right now, and I will help you guys. I will definitely mark them out for you all during this stream. But keep in mind that you want to be, even if you have like a certain bias where you're like, I really need to get long on AVAX, for example, or whatever. In this case, AVAX is outperforming within the index. But if your altcoin is not performing well, don't be hard biased on trying to force a trade. Just follow the money, all right? Which brings me back towards ARB. I do not see a short-term trade here. We're coming up into resistance. This is range high. I think once we cleanly break through it, we're filling in this fair value gap. So let's mark that out. This low towards that high. This is going to be your fair value gap. And it is confluent with a swing point there, right? Swing point there, fair value gap, bearish, what? Breaker, because we have formed a down close candle, pushed higher, broke through it, right? This is resistance, confluent for fair value gap. So if we're getting acceptance above the range, then we're definitely going to go towards 0.73. That's it. But for now, I do not see any short-term long. However, it's still looking good, okay? Let me catch up on the chat. AVAX for J-Lo. Listen, girl. Damn, girl, you got me. All right, AVAX. I mean, you should invite me to the Diddy parties next time, girl, because I feel like I missed out. You did me dirty on that one. All right, AVAX. This is the thing, right? Fair value gap. Look at this. Rebalance. And what do we rebalance to? Do you guys remember what we said about 50% thresholds from the fair value gap? Sharing the sauce right here. How do you know that? Bro, trust me, I watched thousands of hours of fucking ICT. 50% threshold of the fair value gap is what you want to mark out almost all of the time. 50% fair value gap. Sauce. Right? That's the sauce. To the tick. There we go. All right, so the range. Right now, what I can see, similar to the other pairs, is that low, sweep low. This is weekly bullish order block. It's holding up price, right? No surprise. Look at this. Let's go back towards the, oops. No, I want to have 1, 2, 3, 4. I want to go there. Let me guess up on the chat. What is it with everybody wanting .arb instead of longing the heat of the day? I don't know, but it's just, that's what I said. Like, you're probably better off looking where the money is actually heading. But, let's just go. I think it's good. I have a little of, Q&A, a nice educational stream in terms of ICT slang, right? Trading above range high. Looking good. Same story here as well, guys. Look, we swept lows right here into weekly support right there. Then we closed a high above the bullish breaker in this case. If the market would have been bearish, this should have held as resistance. When it does not, you can start setting your limit orders right there in validation below to capture that momentum higher. That's how you don't always have to wait for the retest. As soon as we get that break and that close above, that's when you can start looking for longs. Same goes for shorts, right? In this case, we had a beautiful retest where we swept the high right there, broke structure, retest bearish order block there, and then we start auctioning lower. But I think if we compare this chart towards this chart, for example, or no, what was it? I think Chia, right? Do you see? I think it's looking good. Don't get me wrong. However, AVAX is outperforming. So even if you, let's say that you had a hard stock bias about, I need to get long this pair, but instead you would have just followed the money where it went, and then you saw this one. It's the exact same setup. However, This one is up 40%, and this one is up 34. Oh, that's actually not bad. But you get my point, right? AVAX is outperforming. In terms of longs, I'd say there's a mitigation level here. And that mitigation level is this up close candle on the daily, right? And why is it a mitigation? It is a mitigation because people that thought that this was a bearish order block, they went short there, or they sold their spot thinking that, you know, this is resistance, we're likely to go lower. When we actually break through it, they will either want to mitigate their offside positioning by getting long again around a retest, or they want to close potential shorts that they have on, right? So this becomes support. So what I would do is I would just wait, be a bit patient, wait for a retest here. If it doesn't give a retest, then, you know, by all means, I wouldn't necessarily chase it right here. I would wait for, you know, at least an H4 down close candle. Like even if we go towards an hourly chart, do we have anything? Not really, to be honest. We did have this H4 break there, but you know, that's it, to be honest. I would just wait for a retest there. What altcoin should we look at? Well, you should look at these. Right now, on a monthly basis, we've got L1 outperforming, ADA, AVAX, Ethereum, Solana, TON, BNB outperforming the index. On a weekly time frame from previous week up until now, we've got L2s outperforming, and then you want to be looking at MNT, Metis, Pol, I don't know how to pronounce majority of these, but ARP, Tyco, whatever the fuck that is, but you want to be focusing on these. And intraday, right? Memes, SHIB, Doge, Floki, Bonk. And that's it. I think, what is Bitcoin doing? See, I think we're finding, you know, I think it's looking exhausted here. It's a shame. I wanted to short this. Wow. Oh, well. Can you take a look at the token with the hat technology? You mean we do not speak his name of? Voldemort, right? You mean with? Let's take a look. What's Ansem basically, by the way, doing with all of the money for the dome? Like they raised like a fuck ton of money, right, for that dome. Monthly chart. Let's start with this. No, monthly. No, weekly. Again, I mean, you guys can see, right? Weekly down close candle. Weekly order block. It's getting boring, I know, but it's simple. And I think when trading altcoins, don't be cute. Don't go lower than the H12 or H4. Unless you are, you know, let's say the Bitcoin forms low and you want to capture that upside, then yeah. But other than that, H2. All right, I'd say we swap lows into a weekly order block. We've got a fair value gap here. And I want to have it orange. We filled in partial. I think we filled in 50% right there, right? We filled in 50%. All right. Daily time frame. All right. Daily. We've got a nice up close move, swap lows. I think if there's going to be a pullback, this daily order block here. Number 4. This is where you want to be looking for longs. Towards the sweep of the high. So it's looking good as well. Today, I mean, everything is looking good at this point. But I think it's going to rebound. Let's mark this out as well. So we have a 2-day bearish order block. That's likely going to be capping the upside. And if we're going to be flipping it, then sure. But for now, I think H12, right? We got a nice H12 down close candle within the daily. Within this region, we've got a nice H12 up close candle before we took out the lows. So, you know, there's definitely some overlap here. This is a bullish breaker, right? And then we've got a daily bullish order block. So, if you're getting a retracement and you want to be looking for longer term plays, make sure that your invalidation is on point. Don't be, let's say that we start trading here and you get long. Don't get cute to set it below that low, right? That initial low. Set it below this low. Once we reclaim this level and we start trading above that range, take some profits, throw your invalidation towards this low. It's basically a free trade at that point. I mean, there are no free trades, but you get my point, right? How should one keep up with this price action when one is not as filled as he wanted to? I mean, that's what my missus said as well. No, fucking around. Should we just submit to the pump or wait for the week to open and tell us what price wants? I mean, you should wait for Bitcoin's next move. And Bitcoin is starting to look a bit exhausted at this point. So it's going to be important for me to see this H4. I mean, what I think we need to see is I want to see the weekly open. I want to plot the weekly open, and then I want to see a deviation below, maybe into the order block, or maybe we're going to be puking it, right, to fill in the fair value gap because it's a pretty thin move higher. And a whole lot of people are starting to position themselves thinking it's an easy trade. 80K is a big fucking number, guys, right? So mark out the weekly open, deviate below the weekly open, reclaim it, then just go into your favorite altcoins, right? You can just capture them as higher beta. Like, why do you think everything is looking similar? Every pair that we're taking a look at, sure, we can take a look at the Bitcoin pairs as well, but every pair, look, all of the altcoins are doing the same thing because Bitcoin, look, 2.4%, what's Bitcoin doing? I keep switching my charts. Let's go back to Bitcoin. Bitcoin is doing like 0.9, right? So altcoins are just doing a multiple of what Bitcoin is doing. So that altcoin was doing 2%, right? So whatever Bitcoin is doing, your favorite altcoin is doing. Should have shorted this. Next time I need to have the CLI here as well. Oh yeah, sorry, I saw your request. How do you even pronounce that? Pith. Do we have a perp? Yes, we do. All right. How is this looking? Is it looking good? Let's get rid of the high volume bar right now. Again. Oh, this is actually looking good. My triple diff on the hourly. For what? For what with the triple diff? Yeah, you better start putting width on there. Yeah, for sure. But I think, I think there's actually a lawyer trying to, engage with it. Again, same playbook, right? Swap low, upwards. Do we have any efficiencies nearby? Not really. We've got a big ass bearish weekly order block there. But let's move towards the 2-day. The range that we're trading, this one really catches my eye right away. It's a fair value gap. Let's mark that out. We're filling it in. Okay. This is range high. Like that. And then on the 2-day, we've got a 2-day down close candle. On the daily, what do we have here? Took out a high into resistance. For getting a pullback, I'd say go with this one. And that's mainly because we can see previous interactions with this mitigation level right now, right? This is a bearish order block. As soon as we break structure, we go back, unable to close above, right? Resistance, resistance, resistance. Now that we're finally trading above, I think you can layer orders right there, invalidation below, and then try and capture a move towards these juicy highs right here. These look clean for a potential sweep. Then we've got more inefficiencies right there. Fair value gap here. Another fair value gap there, right? Let's give them the proper color to go back to them in another stream. This lines up with these highs here. So looking good, I think, but as always, dips are for buying. Nero ETH, I think. Oh, that's the other pair, right? I think I had it somewhere here. No, I don't know. Near USDT perp. Let's remove it and add it. Oh man. I mean, I always laugh about these charts where you're like, oh, okay, this was the cycle high. Oh no, wait. All right, weekly. Let's go through it together. Swing low, right there. Weekly bullish order block, right there. Number 4. 2-day. Oh, really? They finished building the Bitcoin client? Oh, tell me more about it. I haven't really been following along. Okay, this is looking good. So the range that we're trading within is obviously this swing point towards that swing high. This is the bigger range, right there. Then we have a fair value gap from this low towards that high. It's always confluent with each other, right? Funny is that, isn't it? Right there, orange. I'm going to be eyeballing the 50% right now, but I want to mark it out. 50% threshold of 50% of fair value gap. Like that. So where do you think is a good point to look for entries? Let me know. I want to know your point of view because you've seen me done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 altcoins right now. In terms of near, where would you guys look for longs? This gives me some time to take a sip of my drink. And for the people that are new, leave me a like. Because we've got definitely some news and some new peeps here. Support the stream. Yeah, so we've got this low right here. This is 1, right? And what did we do before we formed a low? We formed an up close candle there. So we went up. Then we took out a low. We took out another low into a weekly order block. So this is very important, right? You need to be looking for your order blocks, breakers, fair value gaps, bearish, bullish, whatever they are, around key contextual levels. Now, when we do break above them, right here, fair value gap, right? We've got one here as well, but we've got an almost a what is it? 3-day support. Oh, look at this. We've got a 3-day up close candle before we took out key low into key support. In my opinion, this right here is going to be the area there where I think we can start looking for longs. I mean, if we go from this swing low towards that swing point, let's say that we close a bit higher, that we go there, but let's just keep it for this right here. That means that a retest would be around the midpoint. Well, you know, anything above the 50% threshold of a range is premium. Once we start trading below this point, it is called a discount. So yeah, definitely good. 2-day daily H12. Within this level, we've got an H12 down close candle as well. So I think, you know, any pullback into this area right there is going to be a good buying opportunity for a move towards range high. No, so let me just put this right there. The only reason why I took the entire candle here is because it's a 3-day. However, if you're marking out order blocks, bearish order blocks, I mark out like this. From this point towards that point, right? I'm not taking this wick into account. Bullish order blocks, I do like this. Right there, towards the wick, right? And then, so for example, a bullish breaker like that, I neglect the upper part. Now this right here is the area that I really want to position myself into trades. And for the reaction, you do not want to see a close above or below the 50% of your level of interest. I mean, I think if Bitcoin is going to roll over, probably going to be here. It's looking, I mean, a Sunday evening pump into 80K, everybody euphoric. Big ass gap. Fair value gap there. I mean, this is going to be this is going to be your line in the sand, your last resort. Otherwise, it's going to be a steep drop back towards 77k. Weekly order block. Hello. What are the most known ICT concepts? Well, I'm actually launching a short series on them shortly. So it's going to be posted on my YouTube as a short format. So we're going to be covering them all. 1 minute, 2 minute videos. So you do not need to be watching hourly videos. When do you think I should exit Chia for now? Looking too long again on a retest. I don't know what happened in Amsterdam. Oh, I think you're referring to the hooligans with the football, right? Chia, let me just take a look, brief look. I mean, I'll be honest with you in terms of Chia, like if your risk is defined and you want to remain into that long, then sure, but just don't oversize it. Don't risk more than 1% for this trade, right? I think the better trade is a retest back into the weekly order block right here. Right? If you zoom in, we've got that weekly down close candle here, which is why we put the line there. And then if we take a look at the daily up close candle before we took out a low, now we're breaking above. This is a potential good buying opportunity there. So yeah, I think that's, you know, going to be good. Chia, Doge. You know, they were just, and that's the thing, you know, I like to watch football as well, but I always think that the whole hooligan stuff around it is pretty cringe. Like, oh, we're playing soccer, let's go fight. Like, I think, you know, it's not really, I think it's pretty cringe, to be honest. And that's what they were doing within Amsterdam. So there were a whole lot of people hurt, and now I think they're chasing them, the guys that done it. Monthly value very high, plotting it right there. And I'm going to be calling this monthly support. Monthly support, right there. Yearly value very high. You know, this is what we set during the previous stream. Acceptance above yearly value, and it's on. But let's start with the monthly. Monthly. This is a big level, right? We can see it right there. And there's no special sauce. We could just see the interactions on the monthly. Resistance, resistance, resistance. Big ass resistance, right? Monthly support would be this right there. Moving towards the weekly. Where are we trading within the weekly? Don't have anything here. We've got a weekly bearish order block all the way up here. Number 4, like that. Then we have this weekly mitigation, that's support. Around monthly support, let's get rid of that. Like that. 3-day chart. And not anything on the 3-day. High volume bar on the 3-day with a point of control at the highs. Not a huge fan of that. Daily chart. Daily mitigation. All right. Daily here. This one. All right. I'll just stick to the 3-day or to the week. Let's just do the weekly for now. All right. So weekly. Heading into weekly resistance here. I think all in all, I want to be a buyer if it can show me, if it can give me a retest actually back into the monthly support around 0.23 today, because we don't have a whole lot of structures here. Look at this. Damn. 37%, bro. 4-hour chart. Hourly chart. Yeah, I mean, I could outline this as a hourly order block for you, but I think if we're going to be pulling back and we're getting a wipe into monthly support, then that's the thing that I want to be buying. For now, I don't see any intermediate or intraday trades. What I would like to see, what I prefer to see, is we are at that huge ass monthly resistance. So if we can form a range here, and then I don't know, 50% of the fair value gap here, maybe something like this, right? And then we do this where we form a range, trade towards range low, deviate into the fair value gap, rebalances inefficiency, maybe even into the hourly order block like that, then reclaim the range, then this is going to be a long entry for me, targeting monthly resistance and potentially this high. But for now, I would say be patient. Right? And I think, let me just catch up on the chat real quick. Are there any specific questions that you guys have right now? See, this is why I said Bitcoin is looking exhausted. It's a shame we couldn't short it. We said it during the beginning of the stream. High volume bar on the M15. Let's see if buyers are actually stepping in here at the H4. But I mean, and this is my point. The H4 is going to close within 20 minutes. Like, this isn't necessarily a good close. You know, when you have a 4-hour down close candle, you want to see a close at least up here, in my opinion. We'll see. Let's define it. Daily or hourly order block there. I think, you know, the rotation for a short was during the beginning of the stream when we said it's looking exhausted. For a short, potentially, this was the trigger. This. Right there, that close below the high volume point of control on the M15. Do we have any, for example, right, M5? Like, price is fractal, right? The concept that we've just discussed are we form a high, then we form a low, then we auction higher. This is a close below the previous low, short-term market structure break. What do we have? The highest M5 up close candle as resistance, short invalidation, and we're targeting fair value gap right there. This is it. Like, this is the sauce that ICT takes 4 hours to talk about within a single video, right? We take out a high, market structure break, rebalance back into the order block. Where do we go? External liquidity, internal liquidity, peanuts. It's an indicator, bro. The high volume bar lines. It's an indicator for the Discord group, similar to the indexes. If you want to pay with crypto, you can send me a DM on Discord. Join the group, send me a DM on Discord, and I will help you out. But I already support there. So I think, you know, this was the short. And in terms of new shorts, I mean, if what I've just discussed, like, this is what we've just discussed, yeah? We form a low, sweep high, market structure break, back into supply, we rebalance the inefficiency there. If we're taking a look at the H4, this is a down close candle before we move higher. If we're closing below this low on an hourly chart even, right? We take out the highs. We should hold a support here for continuation higher. Lose this as support, and we're rebalancing this fair value gap into the CME gap and weekly support. I mean, if you go for the quarterly sub, it's like, what, 80 a month? Or no, even less, I think. So I think that's fair because you'll get everything. Discord, courses. I mean, let me just show you. Like, if you take this, you got all of this, right? Indicators and so on and so on. And you get the order flow course and you get the market profile course. So it's basically me giving this for free. Where every other group charges, what, $250 a month? It's going to be released tomorrow. So pretty excited for that. Tomorrow/Tuesday, because I was focusing on launching the CLI this weekend. Anyways, guys, for coins like Doge, can we use standard? Yeah, of course you can use standard deviation 2 levels. Sure, I think that's good. You can use it for anything. And I mean, you know, if you're taking a look at from a Vwap perspective, like standard deviations 2, you know, it's probably going to be here. That's standard deviation 2. I appreciate, man. I appreciate that. I mean, I absolutely love what I'm doing. And I think, we have a nice group that we can stream to. You guys are asking great questions. And, I like this mix that we currently have with, just showing you, because this is my bread and butter, right? I've done this as well. Like I started with ICT. I've done, all of it. So I know it, the ins and outs. I know the stuff from the charter members and so on. So I can tell you, I can explain everything that you would like to know. But then I moved more towards Vwap because it helps me to define structure, like where is the condition shift, right? Where's the context that we're going from a bracketing environment towards a imbalanced up market and so on. So I think the combination of Vwap, order flow, and then your own preference, like if you want to execute the lower time frames on the ICT, like I just showed you here, right? Where we had this low, high, market structure break, rebalance, fair value gap. Sunday scam pump, oh no, who would have thought H4 is going to close like dog shit within 40 minutes. So worst case scenario, let me just go through this real quick. Worst case scenario is, let's quickly take a look. Monthly value area high, quarterly, 12 hour. I mean, worst case would be, well, not worst case, but let's say that we're flushing out everything, wiping them all out. That would be a good long in my opinion. And that's when you go towards the altcoins to see, okay, which one is holding up the best. And those are the ones that will bounce the hardest. Let me just check if I can find an example of what I'm meaning. Like this, for example. This right here. Right there, right? Everybody really bullish. Flush. Everybody out. Especially these lows right here, right? Do you see these lows here? These stack lows right there. Like my vertical accumulation. Then we go upwards. Oh, this was on a Sunday as well. Look, on a Sunday. Look at the bottom of the screen. Sunday, January 3, 2021. We go up on a Sunday. Everybody out on a Sunday. And then we continue the rally. So this is the low that you want to be bidding strong altcoins. Now, if you're getting a similar thing, look at these lows, right? Vertical accumulation. If we're going to get a flush, that's the one that you want to be buying. Hourly. I think this is going to puke, to be honest. That's a shame, though. I want to short this, but I can't short on this account here. How long is the bull run going to last for? So that's a good question. Let me show you. Let me just show you. Let's go towards Bitstamp here. Weekly. And then let's get rid of this real quick. Let's put on log. And let's see. The weekly from this low towards that high. This was... Why is this not working? 170 bar. 155. And then from this low towards the all-time high. Maybe it was this low, 155. Probably going a bit 150. Yeah, this is it. All right, let me show you. So from this low, the actual low, towards the all-time high was 4, and I can't really, because it's otherwise it's selecting this line, but this took 152 weeks. 152, probably if I'm going to put it nicely, it's going on the line, it's going to be 154 weeks, right? Now this low towards that high, 154 weeks. All right. Now we have a low here. This low towards the next high, 154 weeks. That's going to be November 3, 2025 for the all-time high. But who knows, right? But I think, if it's going to be then it's going to be then. Oh, we're going to flush. Prepare yourselves. Such an easy short. And I didn't take it. Fuck me. YGG, bro. What's that? What are altcoins doing? Look, you see? Just higher beta compared to Bitcoin. Solana, 4%. Daily. Like, see? Respecting the range. If we're going to get a pullback, you want to be buying this. Let's quickly go over the altcoins right now. So it's good that you closed your long, right, on Chia. Look shit. Solana right here. 12 hour. This needs to hold. If not, we're probably filling in the void. ARP. Daily. Yep, remains the same. AVAX. Still looks good. Strong. Do you see the difference between, you know, the stronger pairs that are leading into resistance pullback right near Doge? All right, let's look at this. Oh, let's quickly go over this weekly. And after that, I'm calling it quits. Otherwise, I need to go to war with the missus. Always streaming on a Sunday. No time for me. Sorry, honey, I love you. You know how it goes. Sweep low, bullish order block. Bullish order block gets respected. Day one OB here, right? Throughout the range. Let's mark that out. Number 4, looking good. I'd say I'm not a huge fan of the structural shift. So what I would do probably is, if, let's say that Bitcoin really starts puking lower. Let's say that we're getting a retracement. This is your market structure break right there. I want to get long here on this daily OB. And I'm going to be targeting the fair value gap here. First, right there, orange. Extend it. Now, why am I targeting that fair value gap? Because it's confluent with these marginally lower highs. Next fair value gap, right there. Do we have anything on Vwap as a level of confluence? Let's take a look. Oh, yes, we do, because we have previous year value area high there. Oh, that's good. Previous year value area high. Yearly support. All right, everybody knows what that is. Yearly support. So we've got a daily down close candle, a 2-day even. All right, 2-day down close candle at yearly support. Retest is a clear long towards pending liquidity above range high into the fair value gaps. Is Bitcoin puking? Oh yeah. See? Sent it. I love to see this. Do you smell them tears on Twitter? Oh, I can smell it. It's funny because when you're, and this is a good example on when you're just keeping a level-headed approach, you know, which, you know, Bitcoin is starting to look exhausted here, guys. I'm not sure if they move upwards on a Sunday. We're definitely going towards the lows. And also, this is a good example also what I mean with, if we have a bullish order block here, you know, I ideally you don't want to see a move below the 50% threshold. Whoops. Let me just outline this. No, don't fucking magnet towards it. Right? So we don't need to see it. We shouldn't get a close below. Some good exhaustion here. High volume bar. High volume bar. High volume bar. Let's see what we do. High, low. Maybe rebalance this fair value gap here before more downside. Towards the equal lows. Into the weekly, into the CME gap. My top altcoin picks. All right. I'm going to be showing you this right now. Then I'm closing the stream. I'm going to be 13K next. We're going to go to our 13K. Yeah. No. We're bullish, man. No worries. It's healthy. When everybody's making money, then we're getting a flush. Usually the case. These are the altcoins right now that are holding up the best. Screen cap it and then chart them like we did. and monitor the reaction. Once Bitcoin finds a low, these will fly the hardest, right? Because we can see already that DeFi here was performing the worst throughout the day, right? Performing the worst. No surprise that it's going down, right? Like nice little puke there. So later down the week, I'm going to be doing an altcoin stream specific for altcoins. You know, just I wanted to do a Bitcoin stream, but I had fun charting altcoins. I hope you guys had fun as well. If you do want to support me, leave me a nice comment. Make sure to smash that like button, and I will see you guys on the next one. All right, take care. Peace.